what's happening in the headlines. We've got a chat with the Minister for Environment, Lands, and we also are looking at how we're handling our money. Bank of Ghana ladies are going to be here to talk to us about that. Another feature is coming your way, and this has to do with plastics. Well, today is World Environment Day, and the theme is around plastic pollution. But did you know that plastics can be used for good? Really interesting and surprising ways. Jigabra, again, today it's a Jigabra special, came through with this particular feature on uses of plastics. Enjoy.
Welcome to this side of town. It's hashtag GTV Breakfast. Jigabra here reporting from the Jolu Junction bus shelter. Now, all over the world, we are aware of how much a nuisance plastics can be, at least its disposal. It's a friendly commodity we all like to use, but its disposal becomes a problem for us. And especially in the country where we do not recycle, what do we do with the waste? So over here behind me at the Jolu Junction bus shelter, Kafui, the CEO of Macintosh Limited, and one innovator has created this bus shelter through the use of plastic. So he's been using plastic in order to do all this. And fortunately, he's here with us this morning to help us understand what went into a project such as this. So I've been joined by Kafui. He's the CEO and founder of Macintosh Africa Limited, and he's going to tell us more about this innovative bus shelter we see here. And no, it's a bus shelter, so don't be surprised when you see vehicles and people just moving across the canvas field. So, good morning, sir. Welcome to hashtag GTV Breakfast. How are you doing?
I'm fine, and you?
By His grace. So, Jolu Bus Shelter, what led to this?
So, a few years ago, I came up with an idea to make a Christmas tree from plastic waste. And it went viral, and I started a social enterprise called Macintosh Africa. And since then, I've been innovating various products and ways in which we can find sustainable ways of dealing with the plastic problem. So in 2020, during the lockdown, I came up with an idea that if I'm able to use plastic waste to design a bus shelter with the plastic waste visible in it, it can influence people's behavior, as some of these spaces are spaces where there are over 200,000 cars passing a day. There are over 1 million people using the space in a day. So the aim is to influence people's behavior in a powerful way and showcase what is achievable if we handle plastic waste responsibly. So I sketched it. I did a prototype of it with my carpenter. We use wood, we use bottles and a mesh, and we built it. And 2 years later, we actually built the real thing, and people are experiencing it.
That sounds very, very innovative. So you are telling me all this you are seeing here is plastic?
Oh, everything in this structure is waste. The chalewate you see here, chalewate waste that get washed to the beach. If you go to our beaches, some of the waste you see at our beaches are chalewate waste. So I have volunteers, we go to the beach, we recover this chalewate waste, and then we sanitize it, we use it for art installations. So this installation is called Footprints in the Sand, to show that the only thing we need to leave in the beaches when we go to the beach is our footprints, nothing more than that. The bench you see here is made from plastic waste. This is innovated here in Ghana. There's a recycling hub here in Ghana, and a lot of young people are innovating a lot of things from plastic waste. So one of my partners called Pyramid Recycling came up with an idea to turn plastic waste recovered from the street into wood-like lumber. So this is the first time we are building something that people can experience from that lumber. So it's a proof of concept project. When you look inside the roofing of the shelter, you can see waste bottles and the waste gallons. Yes, and essentially we intentionally designed the structure in this way so that when people see it, they can naturally connect with it on their own without anybody telling them that this is from waste. And the structure is solar powered. There are lights in them. There's a solar power on top of it. Yeah.
Because I was going to ask if during the night it comes alive with lights and all that.
Yes. So there's a solar power on top of it. And then also there's some emerging technology also introduced into the structure. So these COVID advocacy and environmental sustainability materials were printed by 3D machines at Academic City University, one of our partners. So the students model these 3D icons to communicate messages about what people should do to protect the environment, and these have been installed on it. So this whole installation it's an exciting project. 1,000 kilograms of plastic waste or 1 ton of waste has gone into this structure in various ways. And the other exciting thing is that over 18 women were involved in the various aspects of the value chain to have this built.
Why is it important that you are mentioning a number of women who were part of the project?
So fun fact, globally, out of the over 15 million people that work in the waste sector, half of them are women. In Ghana, 64% of that number are women. And the people who go about picking the waste in the environment are women. So women form a very huge aspect of the industry, and then also especially women, because they are vulnerable groups. It is important that we are creating more opportunities for them through some of these things.
So people are embracing it. How does that make you feel?
For me, it's exciting for me, especially because people's behavior is changing people's behavior, and people can now understand that plastic waste can be used for a lot of things. That changes the way they handle plastic waste. And as we work hard to keep the plastic out of the environment, it's important that we can create more opportunities for people to handle plastic waste responsibly, segregate it, send it to recycling facilities, so that, it can create jobs for people whilst we are keeping our environment clean. So I'm really happy about the progress.
Not to put you on the spot, but if you don't want to use plastics, like as a people, and then make the plastic waste so much, what would you recommend as an alternative?
Right. So, there's conversation about banning plastics, but then I always ask one question: what are the alternatives? What's the environmental impact of those alternatives? There's something called life cycle assessment. And for you to be able to understand the impact of packaging materials, you need to understand the process of how we retrieve these materials, the processes that we use to create them before it's available to people. If we go to paper is heavier than plastics, which means that we'll spend more fuel transporting paper packaging, which is more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, leading to global warming. Paper is also from trees. Cutting trees means more deforestation. We are not planting enough trees, and the weather becomes more, it's going to affect our agriculture. Let's take glass. Glass is heavy. Glass can break. Glass is from sand. Sand winning is a big problem in Ghana. So it's important to understand that the various packaging materials are there, but if we want to move from one to another, we need to do an assessment of the impact it has on the environment. Plastics, most of them can be recycled. If we are handling them responsibly, we should be able to keep them out of the environment. The problem itself is not the plastics, the problem is the behavior of people. And behavior is what we need to fix. If plastic waste is creating jobs for women, then if we change our behavior by handling them responsibly, more women can get better jobs in the sector. So it's more of change of behavior and creating a value chain around how we move the plastic waste so that it's available for recycling.
So creating a value chain that will allow for the disposal, the positive disposal of plastic waste. I've been speaking to Kafui, the CEO and founder of Macintosh Africa Limited, and he's been briefing us about this innovative project, the Jowlu Bus Shelter. And I must commend him for the good job done. Hopefully we'll see it across the country, and not just Ghana, but Africa and globally as well. So this is it for hashtag GTV Breakfast. Keeping an eye here in Jowlu. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, so Jay came through with that one on how they're using chaliwate waste to do all kinds of interesting things, some plastic waste to make benches, and I like it. And kudos to Macintosh.